second for you. Getting closer.
From the right, just to get the topic that we know, where the simple go. Getting too wrong, but the code never saw the vibes. I'm a heart, the text, put them in a heart. Word is the bullet and I'm making it work, yo. Triple V, good night.
Hey friends, welcome to season 2 of Getting Close Up, a show focused on independent artists and creatives. I'm Danielle Cox, and from the clip that you just seen, you already know my guest is in his element when performing. He's young, but he's a hip hop artist with stage presence and gravitas that's turning heads. He's also a producer. He's got a lot of stuff in his bag. Can't wait to talk to him about it and let you guys know. Today we are getting close up with Antonio J.
What up? What up?
Hey, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank y'all for having me.
I'm really happy to have you here. For me, I really appreciate your style and the way you do it. No, you're dope. And I don't know if you know it, but you are. Just wanted to let you know that.
Hey, no. I'm gonna think about that tonight when I go to sleep. That's gonna make me sleep better. I'm gonna lie with you.
Whatever makes you sleep better. You need sleep.
That's what I'm saying. Got to get the beauty rest.
It's important.
Yeah.
So I usually start out asking people where they're from, but you were a military brat, as you put it. So that means you're kind of from a lot of different places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So those experiences bouncing around a lot as a kid, did any of that affect your taste in music?
Honestly, yeah, it really did. My dad, he had a very eclectic music taste because he was also a military kid. So and both of my parents come from different backgrounds. I got to listen to everything from the Gorillas to old school hip hop. My dad played football in Georgia in the 90s. So picked up hip hop from him. And then as I moved around as a kid, just found different places like Oklahoma. We were listening to country, obviously. Moved to Virginia, started listening to Pusha T and all that. And really that's where I really got into hip hop. And then moving here, kind of just a really good melting pot of everything, I think. Yeah,
Kansas City is, because it's there's just a lot of talent that pulls here that's really not left over, but a carryover from the history here. And as you start talking about the history and musical history of Kansas City, it's just one of those things. It just leads up to that. Is there anything that people would be surprised that you're into?
Honestly, jazz music. I don't really talk about it a lot, but I like to incorporate jazz into the beats that I produce and stuff like that. And there's certain rappers like Kendrick Lamar where when they flow, they have these jazz rhythms.
Yep.
And just, I don't know, I don't know what it is about jazz. And especially after going to the Kansas City Museum, I was I need to listen to more jazz. And it's just super cool to me.
Oh, honestly. Yeah, that's dope. And for you, you're 21 years old, right?
Yeah. For
you to understand that connection, because jazz and hip hop have always been tied together. And, it's really dope to hear you say that, because I don't think a lot of people pay attention to that. They hear all these breaks and these beats, and they don't understand where it comes from.
That's what I'm saying. So it's always been a foundation of hip hop, everything. Tribe Called Quest really pushed that forward and everything. And I was no, you gotta pay respect to what helped build the art form today. So
definitely. And that also lends to your producer hat, because producers, from what I've seen, all the really good ones anyway, have a huge lexicon of music under their belt. They have a huge catalog because they have to kind of listen to everything, because they're so into music that they have to hear everything.
Absolutely. I actually have a little tradition where I try to listen to at least one album per day. I heard Tyler, the Creator, was doing that. He was I listen to music 2 hours a day. And then as a producer, whenever you look at listen to the little things that people other do, it just gives you these ideas. And it's just you know what? Because a lot of art is just seeing what you like and trying to make it your own. So you just watch a bunch of things. I was nah, I can steal that and make it my own. I don't know. To me, that's always been the coolest part about listening to other music. Is man, that's brilliant. Nah, let me get back in the studio.
And it never takes away from what it is that you want to do or your own ear or style.
No, yeah.
It just adds to it.
Exactly. Yeah. Helps you deep in the bag.
Exactly. Now, as I mentioned, you're 21 years old.
Yeah.
You're young, you out here, but you really have good stage presence. For real. Your energy is tight. You get out there and you can tell how passionate you are for performing. Was it like that with your first performance though?
Honestly, it was like, it was kind of weird.
He's like, yup.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I'm a very shy person. Like when I talk to people, like it takes me a little bit to build up, but for some reason when I go on stage, like something just clicks. It's just
Turns
like,
on.
yeah, it's like, I don't know. I feel like if you just give everything like with 100% confidence, even if the confidence is fake, people are just gonna like just gravitate towards it. At least I know I personally do whenever I see other people doing it. So it's like, I don't know, just helps you feel more confident when you just fake the confidence and just it's like, I don't know, you gotta commit fully to the bit or show or whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
But
it's like that sound you always hear on the videos where it's like, how will they know? They're
exactly,
never gonna know.
exactly. Yeah.
They're never gonna know
It's like,
you're faking it. You
oh,
know?
you think of it? Huh? Why do you think that?
Like, why do you think
It's
that?
like, yeah, we
Answer
put
the
on that
question
poker
with a
face every
question
day.
Every
Yeah.
day.
Yep.
Yep, that definitely is how you get through it. Because a lot of times when you are getting into something that whether you have a passion for it or not, but you've never done it before.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to, there's another part of you that has to turn on in order to get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other part though is a lot of repetition. So before my first show, I think I was rehearsing 3-4 hours a day for like 2 weeks straight. So after the time, you just build the muscle memory, and then all you're really gonna like focus on just feeding off the crowd and seeing like looking people in the eyes and stuff like that. And after a while, it kind of just becomes like it's like muscle memory, and you just let yourself take over when you practice it a bunch. I think Kobe Bryant had an interview where like the lack of confidence is the lack of preparation. So it's like as long as you like do it a bunch, like and repeat, it just becomes a little bit like more second nature, and then you get to focus on the things you want to focus, like the people smiling or like seeing who's bobbing their head and stuff like that, because you're not worried about the words or anything. So.
That's an excellent point. And I've heard other people say that about, you know, what it is that new artists need to do or need to know. And it's establishing discipline for yourself to get in there and work on your craft. Yeah, you have a talent, but it usually also takes preparation and practice in order to really get to the next level. So it's really cool that you say that, because you do a lot of performing, like locally and even around the country, which has been a huge opportunity, I'm sure.
Amazing opportunity.
Then one of the conversations surrounding independent artists is, and it's a big one, it's about them not staying where they start and branching out and seeing the world and going to different places to perform. How has traveling and performing affected your view of your art?
Honestly, I really think that it just helps you see like a different perspective of different performers, because you get trapped inside your own bubble and that's all you see. Like some people perform like certain ways. They have like certain styles and stuff like that. So it helps you. There's like different performing styles that people have. Like some people like to get the crowd encouraged, and I think it's like a very regional thing where there's some people who are just more eccentric in certain areas and stuff like that. And there's like little things that you can pick up, like tendencies and other such, and even like sonically. So I think the coolest part about going to like in performing in different places like Iowa City versus Atlanta versus Kansas City is just hearing like the different sounds and like different people who have like different motivations and stuff like that, and how you can like take what they do and like incorporate it into your own when you take it to another place, and it helps you stand out as well.
Yeah, because I'm sure there are certain sets you'll do where, like you said, an Iowa City crowd might respond to a different song versus an Atlanta crowd would respond to something else.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's also a pretty essential part, is like knowing your audience ahead of time, like doing the scouting, like go like at the local artists. Because I mean, obviously you don't want to deviate from your own style. You want to be you and show them like what you are. But at the same time, like if you're an artist, most of the time you have like a diverse like portfolio of like different songs with different like vibes and different sounds. So you know, like between the venue and the place that you are, like you got to get the right songs for the right crowd so that they can connect. So I think that's been the other lesson that I've really learned the last couple months.
So, and it's really refreshing to hear you say that, honestly. What's the biggest way that knowledge came about? Did you have someone that like, you know, kind of showed you some ropes and things like that? Or was it really just kind of trial and error and getting yourself out there?
Honestly, it's mostly trial and error. So I moved here to KC about a year ago. I moved here with a roommate. He's not an artist, like he just works at the airport and stuff like that. So I just started looking for open mics and stuff like that. And I went to like the record bar and then found like a crowd there, like a lot of them like more like lyrical hip hop, like and then performed at the Climax, which has an entirely different vibe. It's more club, like a lot, like a very, very different. And I did the same songs at both places, and like still got like some people bobbing, but at the same time, like you can kind of tell. I was like, no, maybe I should have done a little bit more upbeat song at the Climax, and just like trial and error and trying to find the different places. Like, and then even like the stage, like if the stage is certain height, there's certain songs that are better, and just like looking at like the small things and really trial and error. And there's still things I'm figuring out, even like in my last shows.
Wow, that's super interesting, and it just goes to show too that you're paying attention, because again, you're very passionate about what you do. It really shows through. So I'm glad you're here, because it's gonna come across. I know people are watching are like, what is up with this dude? No, it's really cool. So your most recent project is West Side Queens Volume 2, and you described you sometimes describe your music as spiritual hip hop. Like, what's the connection there? What does that mean to you?
Really, so when I mean spiritual, it's like not as much like religious or like thinking about a higher power, but rather like kind of figuring out like who you are as a person and like how you see the world around you, and kind of creating like your own philosophy based off of everything. So for instance, like in my music, it's really about like dealing with like the mental health issues, but not just dealing with them and like coping with them,
right?
But like moving past it to the point where like you can learn to be comfortable with yourself, learn to set boundaries for yourself, but also like maintain that discipline and like set like morals and ethics for yourself. And that's really like a lot of the things that I discover in my music. Like, am I going to like fold and like become about money first, or am I going to keep maintaining to have like an image in my music or stuff like that? So a lot of my music is really about like the battle between like wanting to go with the like what you want versus like what is right,
what's important.
Yeah, exactly.
And would you say your focus on that has to do maybe with your upbringing, like being in the military, like having a family that was in the military and, you know, very regimented and kind of.
Yep. So shout out to my dad. He was making me do push-ups every time I left a light on. I was like, I don't know, 5, and he's like, oh, you left the light on. You're going to be smart or strong today. Clearly, you're a smart individual, but clearly you're going to be strong today. 40 push-ups for leaving the light on. So I don't know. And that kind of just like those little things stuck with me, because it's like the little things that matter. So like how you treat people, how you talk to people, like more importantly, like what motivates you. Because like, am I doing this for the right reasons? And like that goes into like every single decision that you make. So, and that's something that like my mom and dad really like pushed to me as a kid. It's like, make sure you're going things and like being the best man that you can be and leaving the world a better place. Like whenever you go or leave a place or anything.
No, so. That's really cool. Like, so my son is a few years older than you.
Okay.
And he just turned 24. And I'm not kid you not, like I was on him and I thought, this child is never gonna talk to me again. Like, he's gonna grow up and he's gonna be like, let me know when they put you in the nursing home. I'll see you later. Like for real. I was like, this child is never gonna talk to me again. But as he got older and he like the things that he had learned started becoming useful for him, he was like, you know what? I actually appreciate what you did. So, I mean, and this is going to air way after the fact, but with today being Father's Day, like we're actually taping this on Father's Day.
Shout out
that's
Father.
Kind of cool. Yeah. Like he won't see it for a while, but
it
matters.
Like, hey,
telling your parents that matters.
No, it does. It really does. And I think a lot of times, like especially as a kid, like you don't really understand a lot of the things that they say. You're just like, oh no, they're just trying to like be controller or whatever. And then like it takes a lot of time. Like there's a latent learning curve to realize that everything that your parents do for you is with the best intentions. They might not always get it right, but it's with the best intentions. And like the best parents are the ones who are able to admit, hey, we didn't do it right that time, but at the same time, we're going to keep working to get better. And the fact that my parents were always willing to do that really helped like shape who I am. Is like, now we're not always going to be perfect, but we're going to try the best that we can.
That's what's up. That's awesome. And the proof is showing up. So that's really cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now you're also part of a collective. And the idea of a collective isn't new. You know, Cash Money Millionaires, Dungeon Family.
Hey, that's real.
But like it's 14 of y'all in this collective. Like that's more than Wu-Tang. There's more
Yeah.
people in Wu-Tang. So what is that like? I mean, what's the challenges and the benefits to that?
So let me start with the challenges so we can end on a good note. So the challenges,
Okay, felt.
communication, that's probably the hard part because a lot of us have not even met in person. Like it's a bunch of people. Shout out Deepside. He's the person who brought us all together.
That's interesting.
Him and Glory Mercury. Glory Mercury just took a step away from the group, like to chase other ventures, but he's always with us. Just the communication and getting everybody on the same page. Like, hey, bro, let me get you a feature. Come on, like, hey, because again, like a lot of us, we got full-time jobs, or some of them are still in high school, some of them in college.
Life is life.
Yeah, exactly. So, especially as a musician, when you're early on, like you can't just spend like 60 hours just music.
Right.
Like you got a lot of other things and a lot of other like factors influencing your life. So, like being able to like put the right time into a group, and then also just the communication part. That's probably the most challenging parts, but the good part about being in the group is you're around like-minded individuals who really care about making their art big. A lot of them have different styles, so you can learn from them. Like people teaching me how to mix better. Again, talk about Deepside. He's been on my song. Honestly, like my stage presence and like even the presence on the tracks now is very inspired by him because he's a very like confident person. So he really like him and I really try to push each other.
Yeah.
And he's younger. He's actually 2 years younger than me, but he really motivates me to be better. So shout out Deepside. But
yeah, it's not like everybody out here because they're a certain age is knuckleheads. That's not exactly true. Because the same people that say that type of stuff not willing to admit that they weren't a knucklehead. But that's a whole other topic. That's a whole other topic. Anyways, so right now you're working on your first EP.
Yes, yeah.
Novella, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I thought it was interesting that you said your plan for it is to tell an entire story from beginning to end. That's pretty ambitious for an EP, right?
It is. Yeah. Yes. And it's not been easy, but at the same time, I'm super excited. Like I want every single project to have a meaning, whether it be a concept or a story that I'm telling. The whole purpose of Novella is like kind of telling a story through like a very dramatized form, hence like short like telenovela.
Yeah, because those are dramatic.
Yeah, really dramatic. Like you got like all kinds of affairs and like murders and just all kinds of things that really don't happen in real life, like in a normal family. But it's like and they just move past it. Let's
like
also
most people get slapped that much in a real family. Somebody going to jail.
Yeah, no.
Somebody going to jail.
Yeah. Also want to say they're superheroes, the way they just be moving past things. It's like somebody dies and they cry for like 30 minutes and the next thing it just doesn't matter to them.
It's done. Dry, face like, dry, makeup perfect.
They just need to be like part of the Avengers or something. Like superpowers, I don't get sad when people die. Like, hey, I don't know. But back to the album or EP. It's I don't want to call it an album until I have all the resources, like professional mixing and everything, because I want my first album to be like professionally done. So while I'm doing everything on my own, it's going to be an EP every time. So
you produce your own music too?
Yep.
You do everything from
beginning
top
to end. Everything I'm doing is top to bottom, except for the mixing. At first, I was going to do all the mixing and engineering, and I was just doing it. I was like, nah. If I try to do it on my own, I'm gonna sacrifice some of the quality for pride. And in the end, it's about so. Luckily, shout out my friend Zach. He's gonna help me out on that.
Dope.
So
it's good to have friends like that, huh?
Oh yeah, yep. He's been there for me since day one. He's actually the person who introduced me to making music in the first place. So it's really funny how things come full circle.
Yeah. And so what? I know you can't talk a whole lot about specifics with it right now, but what outside of the telenovelas was your main inspiration for that project?
The main inspiration was. Honestly, it was To Pimp a Butterfly, like Kendrick Lamar. I was listening to that, and that's what really was like, you know what? All my albums need to tell stories, and specifically, like, this is about him coming into himself, like, in a different world that he's stepping into. And then I was like, no, this is going to be my version of, like, saying that kind of in the same way that he does, just different flavor and different perspective.
Nah, that's really cool. That was a major album. It was pivotal for him.
Absolutely.
He's always been an excellent storyteller.
Yes.
Good Kid, Mad City, and everything before that. Like he's always been an excellent storyteller. I love storytellers in particular, so I'm super interested in that project because that's my bag. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So it's like you mentioned one of your roadblocks right now is getting it mixed? Is there anything else that's been like a major hurdle in trying to get this off the ground?
Really just the mixing and engineering. The vocals for a long time, I just couldn't get my vocals right because my vocals will sound like full and like deep and, like really nice whenever I'm live. But then I try to go to the studio, all of a sudden my voice sounds like all shriveled up and I can't add inflection. It's like I forget how to rap every time I get into the studio. At least that's how it was like 2 business months ago. But come now, like it's I figured out like a vocal chain where like it won't blow up my mic anytime I try to like add inflection. So as soon as I figured it out, I was like, nah, it's game over.
And
Zach, I need your help.
Those are those little intricacies people don't think about. Like that's really big. And I don't sing, I don't rap, I don't do any of that. Only time I'm ever in the studio is like, record some voiceovers of me just talking for stuff
Not yet.
for the show.
She gonna sing soon.
Oh, that's not coming soon to you. Trust. Not coming soon.
We're gonna
try. But like you noticing that you sound completely different when you're performing live than when you're in the studio. Like
that's the most frustrating part. Or I'll even record it into my iPhone. Sound. That's what I want it to be. I'll try it in the professional mic, and it's just like, and I'm like,
why do I sound like this?
Yeah, I was like, nah. It's like taking like 10 years off my voice. It's horrible.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the future a little bit. Where do you see yourself and your career and your music within the next couple of years?
In the next couple of years, like 2. Mm-hmm. I think becoming like hitting bigger venues in Kansas City. I really want to, as I've moved here and been here longer, Kansas City is becoming a little bit more like, it feels more like home. This is probably this is the first place I ever lived on my own without my parents. Oh. So it was really like my choice to move here. And I'm starting to realize like how talented the people are around me and all that. So just like trying to doing my best to like put the city back up on, like, and try to like do a little bit of like Tech Nine's doing. And it's very ambitious, and I don't know if I'm gonna be there in a couple of years, but that's my goal, is really just trying to get my music up there, a bigger name in Kansas City, and allow like that to help me put Kansas City out nationally more.
And as we talked about earlier, you gotta have that confidence. You gotta have that thing about you that says, I don't see it right now, but I'm gonna get to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get there. And then on top of that, not just saying what it's gonna be and not doing anything about it, because that's just delusion, but having a plan and working that plan and having discipline and everything. I mean, that sets you apart, honestly. That sets you apart, and it gets you closer to where you want to be.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, I mean, you just, from me talking to people who are in various stages of their success, and I say it that way because regardless of where you are, the fact that you are trying to do something is a part of that traveling on success, that road to success. It just is. There's no failure in that, as long as you keep moving forward. So talking to people who are in different levels of success, that's the main thing. Discipline, staying on track, keeping up with your P's and Q's, keeping up with your talent, training yourself to stretch yourself. It's all very important. So, and you'll get there if you keep doing that. So what is one thing that you think you absolutely need to make sure that what you want is attainable?
I would say consistency. This is like, I think that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to work on. Like, there's a lot of times where, like, I'll get a bunch of work done, and then I just have these blocks where I can't. So just like learning how to be more consistent, and like keep that maintain focus, and really like incorporate the things that I like, the small things that nobody wants to do. Like get better at mixing, get better at managing the social media, and like little things like that. Just being consistent with the little things, like snowball into the bigger thing that you're chasing. So, hope that answered your question, I think.
No, it did.
Awesome.
No, it did. Because it was really like, so when I was talking earlier, that was more about from what I see from a bird's eye view. But that question was really for you to recognize what it is you might need to do. Yeah. So that's, consistency is great for anybody. I struggle with that sometimes too, because I'll have the same roadblock. I'll be pushing along just fine, and then you get to a moment and you're like, and you feel like you're just sitting in place. But what I've told myself about those moments is maybe that means you need a moment to rest, because we don't always give that to ourselves. Having that moment where you just say, okay, I'm going to take this as a moment to rest. I'm going to do something to clear my mind. I'm going to give myself a time limit, and then I'm going to get back to it. Looking at it that way instead of me being slumped or stuck, which causes a spiral for me. I don't know about anybody else.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I relate.
Kind of just like give it a purpose. Like, this is a moment where I'm kind of here, but I'm going to give it a purpose. I'm going to give it a time limit, and then I'm going to go on.
I'm going to steal that. Let's do that. You put me on free
You
game.
can have it. You can have it for free.
Yeah. She gave me that for free 99. Can you believe that?
Free 99? Are you out of your mind? So where could people find you and your music and keep up with what you're doing, man?
So they can find me on Instagram at Tony J Alvarado. That's Alvarado. It's a long name. I get that. But there's a link tree in there. You can find me on all streaming platforms like Spotify, iTunes, Tidal. Is that still a thing?
Title's still a thing.
I think that's still a thing. You can find me on there. SoundCloud too.
No offense to Jay-Z.
Yep, no offense to Jay-Z. He got people, so I hope you don't see this. I love you, Jay-Z. But you can find me on all streaming platforms and Instagram. And yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, many thanks to you for being here. And I hope you guys got something out of that, because I definitely did. I enjoyed my time with him. All the links that he gave will be in the description box below, so definitely check him out. If you had as much fun as we did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so we can keep bringing it to you. New episodes of Getting Close Up air bi-weekly on Fridays, but make sure the next Friday to keep an eye out for me and D on GCU Reviews, where we give you the tea on what's hot and what's not. I thank you guys for watching. You're the best, and I'll see you again soon for another Close Up. I'll be checking for you. Bye.